All right, y'all ready? We're gonna do some upper legs today because my quads and hamstrings are tight. I'm going to start off trying to kind of loosen everything up using the sew stick and sew sprocket. Got the ridged wheel and the smooth wheel kind of mixed in here. This is customizable. You can take it completely apart and rework this whole setup. And I've got my original sew right. I'm going to lay one leg on here while I use the sew stick on the other, because this is gonna give me some just deep pressure work on the back of the leg. And actually, while I've got this leg propped up here, I'm going to take the sew sprocket and just work up and down this quad. I've been putting in a lot more miles on the treadmill this week. Just gonna kind of loosen everything up here, and then I will get to blasting in just a second. But this way I don't get oil all over all of my tools. Oh, that inner thigh is tight. Normally I do most of my self-care in the shower. I keep it pretty quick, a few minutes each day. But when I have the time like this, I try to make sure I do slightly deeper. Roll on the hamstring a little bit. Switch legs over here. Whew. The hamstring feels that. I'm using the small rollers a little bit around the knee. These inner thighs are tight. I'm gonna have to place some cups and kind of focus on these a little bit this week. Same, just get a little wheel on this side. Starts getting everything warm. When your fascia is warm from use and getting the muscles going on the inside, and then warm from the outside, either a shower or a bath or a sauna, whatever you have access to, the more malleable it will be for remodeling. So grab oil of your choice, whatever you got, as long as it gives you enough glide. This one's got a good sprayer on it. Some of them do not spray nicely. All right, this is my Master Blaster. This one's by Ashley Black, if you are not familiar. Our fascia runs under the skin. It's why you can see cellulite. It's because that's fat stuck in the fascia. It's like one giant piece of a sticky web that covers us head to toe. And when it gets stuck against itself, it creates little pockets, little fat bubbles, little lumps and dents. So with the tools, we're essentially combing and smoothing below the surface of the skin. Because it is a grid type shape that covers you, you want to move linear. You don't want to do circles. That'd be the same as combing your hair in circles. You want to do up and down, side to side, or you can move at like a diagonal. A lot of it will be based on feel, what you notice personally. If a spot is extremely tender, that usually means there's some damaged tissue in there and it needs a little more of a gentle approach to TLC. When you first start blasting or any form of fascia manipulation routine at home, start small, set a timer for 1 to 2 minutes and start blasting. Make sure you have enough water so that you are well hydrated. Put some electrolytes in your water. My favorites are the Revitalize by Modere, and I mix that with the Phytos because I'm not very good at eating my veggies, so I drink my greens, reds, and golds in the morning and get all those nutrients going. You can see my leg is already turning red. I have pretty good blood flow because I've been doing this for about 8 years. You may notice in the beginning that you have white patches that may feel cold to the touch, and it's just because the blood can't get to the surface yet. That just means your tissue is pretty bound and it needs some help for the blood to get there. Blood flow is good. It brings nutrients and healing and all that good stuff. I'm going to get up on my knee here in a second so I can show y'all how I work more of the back of the leg. All right, same tool. I'm just gonna kind of come around the underside of my leg. Back it up a little bit so you can actually see me. This is a really good position to take if you have the banana roll or the lines that run horizontally on the back of your leg, right under your booty cheeks. After I'm done with the small claw tool, which is what I'm using right now, Master Blaster is a version of that, I will use a large claw tool, which gets a little bit deeper, and then finish with some gliding cupping. I feel like cupping helps to kind of pull that stuck fascia off what it is stuck to, and it gives you a nice stretch in an opposite direction, because we can't pull our skin away easily. So cupping kind of gives us that feel. This is the Savage Blaster. It's a version of a large claw tool. There's also the original one, which has 4 heads on it. I will just stick with the Savage Blaster. It covers more surface area faster. When you're talking about pressure, if you're new, you want to stick with light. Just the weight of the tool is enough. Loose grip. Don't give it a death grip because then it'll hurt your hands. I've just got it kind of pinned and I'm just sliding it. As you get a little more seasoned, you can tip it a little bit, and this will give you a deeper feel because you're working on the edge of the claw, and you can kind of lean into it a little more. You want to ease into that slowly. The first time I ever blasted, it felt like I was scratching an itch below the surface that I never knew existed, and I could not stop. I was covered in bruises. Bruising can happen. It is part of the healing process. It is your body sending nutrients and blood flow to help heal. It's not a bad thing. A blasting bruise or a cupping bruise is not the same as an injury bruise. It is often painless to the touch, and it just looks like a bruise. But putting some ice packs on it, cold packs on it, that will help it to speed up the healing. You can also use Arnica cream or tablets sold at like Vitamin Shop, homeopathic stores. I have the After Blaster cream, which contains Arnica, and I have all of my links with discount codes. Like you can get 50% off all of the Sew Right tools using code TheCrystalBaker. You can get 10% off blasting tools using code Crystal10. And I have all those links in my link tree, which will be in the comments for you, along with all the other self-care tools that I have, because I love to use any that I can find. And I feel like mixing modalities just gives you a better, full fascia experience. And this is my favorite way to help treat muscle soreness. All right, let's take these cups. I'm gonna show you how I glide them, and then I'm gonna park a few around to help with the lines and dents back there. I already have oil on. This is a Lure silicone cup. It is squishy. Just suction it on, and then you're just pulling up and down. You can also go side to side. I like to give my knee a little love. I prefer to cup after blasting because the cup always tries to like pull the oil off the skin. I just find that to be wasteful, so I wait until after I am done with my blasting to place my cups. And right now I'm just kind of forming a little horseshoe under my glutes there. And because my inner thighs were tight, I'm gonna come to the inside here. And I'll just leave that to sit while I switch over to the other leg. I'm pretty generous with the oil because it just makes it easier for the tools to glide. The Lure cups can be found on Amazon. I will add those to my link tree for you as well. All right, back to the Master Blaster. When you're working around your knee, you want to think of forming like a diamond shape around the knee. You can go over it. That just seems to feel the best, especially if you have this like bubbly, fatty tissue spot on the inner knee. I used to have that, but now since I've been blasting, it's gone away. It's not something I've had to worry about. The cups will stay on anywhere from 3 to 7 minutes. Again, I've been doing this for a while, so I usually leave them on more towards the longer end. If you are new, the first time you do, especially gliding cupping, it will feel like you are ripping the skin off of your body. And it's highly unpleasant in the moment. But as soon as it is done, you feel like your whole body takes a sigh of relief because it finally has the ability to breathe. I mean, just imagine if somebody locked you in a super tight corset forever and never let you take a full deep breath, and then finally the corset was untied. That's kind of what it feels like when you start working your fascia. It feels like your body is taking a deep breath for the first time ever. So we're going to start doing weekly blasting together, getting into some more of the self-care tools that I like and utilize on a regular basis. Just find whatever position feels best for you. You can do it standing, seated, leaning. You can do this in the shower. Just don't use oil in the shower. Use body wash or conditioner to blast with, just to prevent slipping and falling. As far as blasting tool selection, if you don't have the tools or you're new to the tools, you only have one, use whatever you've got. Any tool is better than none. I've been slowly growing my collection for 8 years. A lot of things I've gotten off of Amazon, like this acupressure mat that I've got upside down with my knee on it. My cups have all come from Amazon for my gliding cups. I have a contour cube for my base. You'll notice better workouts once you start doing this. My muscles actually feel like they're coming to life the more that I blast and get that blood flow. And it is also helping to essentially spot reduce fat. Because there was a study done on the fascia blaster, and they reduce the fat in the body. Some people worry about that for like shrinking areas that they don't want to shrink, like the glutes. And honestly, I've found the more that I blast the glutes, the better my glute muscles grow. It's like miracle grow. All right, I'm suctioning a cup on here. Let's get that a little tighter. This leg is definitely more sore. Whenever you're working with self-care tools and you find a spot that is tight or sore, remember to breathe. Your natural inclination is almost always tense and hold your breath, but you're gonna be in a much better spot if you breathe through it. Oftentimes, trauma is stored in our tissues, unprocessed emotions are stored in our tissues. So you may find that you're suddenly super tired or grumpy when you first start doing this, or your attitude is not the greatest and you don't know why. It's usually because you're releasing so much that has been stuck and stored. So if you think about that from the beginning and try to approach it as a release when you are doing the self-care work in more of a freeing motion instead of trying to tense and hold on to it the whole time, the easier the process will be. All right, I'm gonna let these cups sit on here for a few minutes, and then I'm gonna go get some ice packs on, because icing helps to reduce inflammation and speed healing. I hope this helped you. If you have any questions, drop them below for me and I will be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I will see y'all soon for another video.